I pray to the Flying Spaghetti Monster that by the time this gets out, Neo PewDiePie hasn't already covered it.
If I think about it too much, I get all soul-searching and weird.
Does the Tall Knight lore and allegations confuse you? Let's break it down. 19-year-old Elijah Brand, aka Tall Knight, was a popular Christian TikToker whose shtick was wearing a Crusader helmet, celebrating the small victories in life, and generally just good vibes. During this time, Elijah was renting with his sister Savannah and her husband Brent. On February 18th, 2023, sometime around late Friday night or early Saturday morning, Savannah would walk in on Elijah and his girlfriend Caitlin having happy schlippy sloppy gawk time. Because of this, Savannah would kick them both out of the house, forcing Elijah and Caitlin to have to stay with his friend Logan in his parents' basement, where he would then step outside to make this video.
Please don't scroll. I need help. I just got kicked out. I'm homeless now. I have nowhere to go. This is how much money I have to my name right now. I'm sorry. I know you want to scroll. I know it's so easy to just keep going, and I would not be doing this unless it was a last resort. I swear to God, I've wanted to do this sooner because I haven't made enough money. I don't make enough money to eat every day, but I never came to you guys asking for money. I never came to you asking for help because I just wanted to make you guys good content. I wanted to spread positivity because TikTok is such a toxic cesspool of negativity, and I try to bring good vibes, and I'm fucked right now. You know it's me. This is my tattoo. These are my chains. I didn't have time to grab my night helmet. Obviously that wasn't a priority, but I have nowhere else to go. I make money from TikTok. I know that's true, but that's a monthly thing. I won't see a penny of what I've made until next month, and I don't know what to do. I spend most of my entire day answering DMs from young people who are reaching out to me because I asked you guys too that if you were struggling mentally to find help and that maybe I could help you. And I've had kids. If I have ever made you smile, if I have ever brightened your day, if I have ever been able to help you in any way, please help me now. This is pathetic. This is sad. I would not do this if I didn't have any other choice, but I don't. I'm not asking you all to send me as much money as you can, but I know I have almost 1 million followers, 1 million of you guys that watch me, and that I am honored by this platform you've given me, but I am asking you for help. If 1 out of every 50 of you sent me $1, that would be enough for me to at least afford, I don't know, a hotel or something. I'd rather not sleep here. I have no other option. I'm sorry to use my platform in this way, and I never ever would if I didn't have any other option. So just please share this video, please, because this is not the content that TikTok is going to want to show. It's going to hide this video and it won't let people see it. So if you see this, please repost it, please send it to a friend, because I need help. I really do. I'll put my Cash App in the description, and all I can do is hope. Thank you for your time.
However, this video would not be posted until a couple days later, on Monday, February 20th, my birthday, by the way. After taking a short nap, Elijah would wake up to nearly $15,000 just within an hour of the video being posted. Quickly realizing that this was far more than enough, he would post a video saying just as much.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm shaking. Okay, update. For first things first, my best friend's parents are letting us stay in their basement in the meantime. However, it's been an hour! An hour! Stop sending me money! I'll be okay! I just had to sit conflicted as I watched that number rise, because I know if I just turned off my phone and went to sleep, that number would continue to rise, and I probably would have woken up to God knows how much money. But I'm making the right decision right now. That's enough. Stop sending me money, all right? That's enough. I'll be okay. That'll be more than enough for me to find rent at a new place. Thank you all so much. Oh my God. I love you all. I love you all. I can never thank you enough.
However, donations kept piling in, and now Elijah had gotten over $30,000 in donations and had begun to actively decline anything further.
And then it had reached, if I remember correctly, about $32,000. That is how much in total was made. And the donations kept coming. So then I had to go into my Cash App and switch it so that donations wouldn't automatically be accepted. So that people couldn't just send me money and it would go straight into my account. I went so far as to turn donations off so that any money sent to me, I would have to accept it manually. Otherwise, if I didn't touch it, it would be sent back to the donor. And that is what I did. And here are the email receipts to prove that. These are all of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I could have taken, but I didn't. And I sent it all back to the donors because I knew I had enough.
However, suspicions had begun to brew in the TikTok community that Elijah had actually scammed his fans. The gossip would eventually get back to Savannah and Brent, who would post these on their TikToks.
Story time, because clearly he didn't put the whole story on why I kicked him out of our house. As you can see, we are a strictly Christian household. Elijah knows that. He's a Christian too. He goes to church and stuff. He's been fairly good over the years, but he did have some issues with a girl last year that we all told him we were not in support of. There was a whole relationship disaster. He ended up extremely depressed and hurt, ended up in the hospital for suicidal thoughts and stuff. We helped him through that. He worked through that. We told him, hey, next time, get our advice, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, he hasn't listened. He hooked up with some other girl. But the big thing that ended up getting him out of my house was the fact that, it's my house, and he invited this girl up, flew her up from another state without telling me, with the intention of letting her stay in my house without telling me. And we had an argument about that, but I thought we had come to a conclusion. Sure, she can stay here, but Elijah cannot, because I believe that sex is for marriage. He knows that. He made it sound like nothing was going to happen, that he was going to stay somewhere else. And later that same night, I walked in on them being intimate under my roof, which I'm not okay with. And so that's a very hard line for me. He's 18 years old. I took him in when my dad and stepmom's house was getting crazy. He's lived with me for a year, but there's just certain things that I won't tolerate, and it's my house and I have the right to do that. He's a grown man. He can make his own decisions. He can live his life how he wants, but I'm not going to support that lifestyle. It's very simple. So I wish him the best. I see he's making some money off TikTok right now. That's great. You guys support him however you want. It's just I'm not going to be the one who's supporting it. Again, I'm not here to judge anyone, but that's not how I live my life, and that's not how people in my house will live their life. I wish him the best, away from me and my children. For the record, I talked with my husband about it. We did tell him that he could stay for 2 more weeks to wrap up the month that he paid for, to find a place. He's not sleeping on the street. He's staying with his best friend and the girl. But yeah, so it is what it is. I'm content with my decision. So I love Elijah, and I hope that he turns his life around and fixes this mess, but that's all I can say about that.
I had let Elijah live with me since he turned 18, with me and my wife and my children. The understanding was that he was to be a normal house guest, operate under the understanding that this is my house. He lives here as a guest, does pay rent, not a lot, but he was to live here because we took him in. Now, the incident in question happened because he decided that it was in his prerogative to fly up a girl from out of state to stay in my house with my children and me and my wife without asking first. That was the first red flag that I was upset about. He had had issues in the past, And I did not want that to repeat. So later that night, my wife came to, check on them. This is our house, to make sure our rules were being followed. And they were being very intimate, displaying very unchristian-like values in my house with my children. Granted, we were very upset. We had asked him, he had promised, he had assured this wasn't going to happen, and it did anyway. I told him that I was very upset, and that he had until March 1st to at least get things together, get things in order, and start finding a place. He was not homeless, he was not kicked out. He had to leave and the girl could not return, but he paid until March and was here until March. He then decided to make a video filming a suitcase on the ground here in our city. The suitcase is not even his. That he's homeless and has nothing. He did have money. He had enough to fly up a random girl to Maine. He had enough money for her ticket, but had nothing, and then is begging for thousands of dollars from people on TikTok. When he's staying with his friend, he's staying in a hotel. He told me, and responded to the text message, I'm going to link the text message in here, that he was fine and that he's staying in a hotel and doesn't want to come home. He was never homeless, not even for one moment was he homeless, and I'm sorry if you gave him money thinking that he was. And I was just going to let it go until I see that he's actually scamming people out of money, lying about the fact that me and my wife kicked him out after he repeatedly broke the rules of our house and I'd given him weeks to find another place. No. I'm sorry. No.
Elijah would respond with a shill for his Discord, which contained above and beyond further context. He would basically complain about the outright hypocrisy of his sister and her husband, that for people who were so deeply traumatized about his un-Christ-like behavior in the house of their children, they themselves, allegedly, would watch porn together, have loud sex every day whether their kids were in the house or not, leaving their toys in the sink, and even Brent being the one to take them in the ass at that. He even mentions how Savannah accidentally nearly killed an infant at a daycare by asphyxiation when she wrapped it in a blanket and left it alone for too long. Yeah, the shit gets pretty real pretty fast. Post-editing insight. It's also a pretty shitty thing for you to have just exposed your sister and her husband to the entire world when you admit yourself that what happened was your own fault. You knew the rules and you broke it, and now you're throwing these people who helped and supported you during a really dark time in your life under the bus. Doesn't feel right, man. He also talks about how she had caught them cuddling earlier that day and even drilled Caitlyn, saying things like, "Who are you? Where are you?" Where are you from? I'm sorry. Who are you? Where are you from? And who did you vote for? Which does make sense because it is also revealed that Savannah had stopped communicating with her other siblings, one for voting for Joe Biden and other for not being straight. So, typical right-wing Christian stuff. But that's a hell of a tangent. At the end of the day, that's some freak shit, but that's their house. People are allowed to be hypocritical, gross freaks in their own homes. Probably shouldn't be done around kids, but anyway, getting back to the allegations around Tall Night, Mr. Elijah. The first thing that both Brent and Savannah corroborate is that this girl was brought down without either of them knowing she was coming down. Elijah refutes this point by saying that the night before he flew her down, Savannah had walked in on them making said plans over Discord. Elijah, if you're watching this is kind of ridiculous. The only reason she knew was because she busted you, and that left your sister with 24 hours for a complete stranger to come down into a home that you shared with multiple other people. That's like something you asked like a week plus in advance, not the night before. That's like saying, yeah, she knew I was having a girl over because she saw me sneak her in. Anyway, Savannah did apprehensively say she could come down under the presumption that they would not be in the same house at the same time. The next point is that he was never homeless. This is true. Elijah was never at any point homeless because he went from his home to Logan's home to a hotel. This, and also Brent made it clear on the exact same day that he was kicked out through text that he could still stay till the end of the month.
After I posted the video asking for money, then they texted me saying, you can stay till the end of the month to find an apartment. But here's a very important detail that was left out. The date of which that they kicked me out was a week away from the end of the month.
No, that's not correct.
And I'd given him weeks to find another place.
Nope, that's not correct either. Nope, it gave him 10 days, which still really isn't enough time.
And in what universe can someone find and move into a new apartment with $400 in their bank account in a week?
Something suspicious to me personally is that he claims he filmed the video after he got to Logan's house.
So that night at my best friend's house with his parents, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have $400 in my bank account right now, and I'm not allowed to go back home to my apartment, and I have a girl with me, and I didn't know what to do. So out of desperation, I picked up my phone, I went outside to the road, and I made a video calling for help.
But he shows his things are outside, and we never see or even hear him mention that he's staying at his friend's place. So it's almost like he took all of his things back out of Logan's house just to make it look like he had been kicked out and was now on the streets with nothing and nowhere to go. Which, of course, was what he said and the impression everyone was given. So unless he just left his things outside, that's kinda screwy.
That was that. I made a video saying that I was homeless and that I needed help and I had nowhere to stay. Because obviously, your best friend's parents' basement is not a permanent solution. That was very, very temporary. I would be lucky if they let me stay there more than like 2 days.
Obviously not a permanent solution. A couple days at most. He says a couple days here, but here in his text to Brent, he says a couple weeks. So again, did something change or are you trying to exaggerate? Anyways, of course, after such a big blowout, there's no way he would want to go back and hang out with someone who just embarrassed and wished him to be homeless. So he chose to be with his friend Logan. However, it should be said that he didn't have nothing. He did have the money to fly his girlfriend down, which left him about $450, which he himself admits. Not a lot by any means, but in a text to his sister on February 16th, he claimed he could be getting $2,000 coming in before the 26th. So, did he hide this fact?
I make money from TikTok. I know that's true, but that's a monthly thing. I won't see a penny of what I've made until next month.
So, which is it? Is it this month or is it next month? We here at the Obvious channel are fans of people forming their own opinions, so feel free to pause this video and come to your own conclusions, because this is just my personal speculation. This whole thing reads like someone who was in a very desperate emotional state and in a very precarious situation. I have this girl with me, I have almost nothing right now, the money I'm going to get is still not enough, I don't want to go back to my sister's house, I can't stay at my friend's place for very long, the clock is ticking, so I have to ask for help and make myself look as desperate as possible, otherwise people are just going to scroll on me. To your sister, you say this month you're getting paid. To your audience, you say next month. Which is it? This month or next month? You would have had to have been mistaken with your sister, but that's not an easy mistake to make. You get paid once a month. If you're telling your audience you won't see a paycheck till next month, that implies that you already got your paycheck for this month and now have to wait till next month. But why would you tell your sister that you're getting paid that month if you know you already got paid that month? It doesn't make sense. To your audience, you say you had maybe a couple days at your friend's house, but to Brent, you say a couple weeks or more. To your audience, you say you're homeless, but you weren't. To your audience, you say you have nothing and that you wouldn't be getting paid until next month, but to your sister, you say you had $2,000 coming in before the 26th. And even before all of that, you hid that you were flying a girl over. You tried to hide that you were sleeping with her, even though you said that you wouldn't. And again, why was your stuff still outside in the snow after you already got to your friend's place? And not to get into spoilers, you also admit to cheating on your girlfriend. You have a pattern of dishonesty. The only right thing that you did was call off donations after $14,000. Do you see where that puts me as an observer who's looked at as many perspectives as I can? I can't just excuse all these abnormalities because of one example of integrity, Mr. Toll Knight. So, do I think he scammed his followers? Well, it's not like he didn't need the help, and I personally don't believe he went in maliciously with the intent to just milk his audience for a bunch of money, even though that is what he did. That's just what I think. That's who I am. Cry about it. But I do think he exaggerated the direness of his situation. So it's almost like he's one of those homeless guys who pretends to walk with a limp or a wheelchair to gain the level of sympathy he feels he deserves, but at the end of the day will refuse money if he feels like he's being offered too much. So yeah, I do feel like that's a scam. You have to be transparent. Now, all of this is pretty old news. The reason why this guy is getting lampooned right now isn't really because of this stuff. It's because of multiple grooming allegations. These things are just kind of getting sifted up out of the floor. Those allegations are much more complex and are currently unfolding even as I talk right now. So it's actually better than I sit back until the dust settles a bit more before drawing any conclusions. But stay tuned. I will cover it. And as always, thanks for slopping by.